From the slowest downloads to the smoothest streams of cyberspace, welcome to the Kidawa Show. And here's your host, Arthur Kidawa.
Welcome to your late night YouTube talk show. That's right, the Kidawa Show. Today, we're going to the ancient lands, the very, very ancient lands of Wales. That's right. Guys, strap on your boots. It's going to be a rockin' ride today. Please welcome Carl Tinker to the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Kidawa Show. Today, from the matrix of Anarchy Online to the matrix that we have here around us, please welcome Carl Tinker to the studio. Carl's here all the way from Wales, and I'm not talking about the animals, so pleasure to have you here.
Pleasure to be here.
Let me introduce his stats a little bit. He's got, well, you just hit your 500, well, now you're at 526 subscribers, but he just had his 500 subscriber special, so congratulations to that.
Thank you, thank you.
You've been on YouTube for quite a while now, and you've been pumping videos, you've been working hard, and it shows because he has over 170,000 views. And usually at around a 500 subscriber level, you don't get that many, so that means you got some great content out there. So again, great work there.
Thank you.
Or shall we call it work? Great play, right? Work, play, it's all the same here.
Kind of both, yeah.
If you guys know Anarchy Online is a big MMO game. Well, it's not so big anymore, but it's been around for a long time. It's very unique to itself. And tell me, I guess let's pop the question here for all those supporters of that. What do you consider your favorite character, and what would you consider your favorite class?
Opifex Shade. Opifex Shade.
Opifex Shade. We'll put pictures of those out, just in case you guys don't know. Okay, and what does a shade do? Is it that, like a kind of a shadow knight type of thing?
I'm not too sure what a shadow knight is, but effectively, a shade is the, pretty much, still is the highest damage dealing class in the whole game. So it has a ridiculous amount of damage. I would say it's probably slightly overpowered. Maybe needs a little bit of a nerf, but God, they're fun to play when you get them to the end of the game. If anyone has watched the Shade playthrough, so that's pretty much from like level 10 up to 190 now. There's 220 levels in the game, and you don't have access to all the skill set that you would have if you're generally a lower level. You can't sort of wear the particular armor or use a certain weapon. It's that kind of scaling they build in. But when you do get there, I mean, every sort of raid situation or team play, and I've got quite a few decent characters, and I'll say, what shall I bring? And it's like nearly every time, bring the shade, bring the shade, bring the shade.
So it sounds like a kind of, well, going off the word shade, it sounds like a kind of rogue character instead of like a caster or
it's a melee type. It's a melee class, but in Anarchy Online you've got direct nano damage, which are kind of nano spells or magic, which hit mobs or other players directly. With a shade, you have a lot of what they call perks, which are innate actions. And they're interdependent a lot of the time, so you can't use this one until you've landed this one, and then it scales up, and then the last one you hit with, if you land the whole series, it's a huge chunk of damage. So there's a bit of skill involved in just playing that class. But once you actually do it, it's essentially a sneaky, parasitic almost kind of thing. It's kind of the opposite of who I am in life. So that's maybe why I like it. It's kind of
it's your shadow self.
The dark side.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's your dark side coming out. I mean, they're vicious killers. They're vicious. I mean, no one can see them. They're right behind this player, and they just go and just face roll a ton of damage at someone, and they just bang. Down they go.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Great.
But they are fun. They're a lot of fun.
If you guys haven't noticed, I don't know that much actually about Anarchy Online. I've I have tried it out years ago when I was still playing EverQuest and all that stuff. So, and it's a futuristic type of MMO, which is pretty cool, and that's why I say those are pretty rare out there. So if you guys don't know the game, what Carl is doing that's I find pretty awesome is he's doing a new series on his channel where he's creating a new character, but everything he does, he bases it off of the viewer's decisions. So like he's asking to, so right now he just started, so you should get on this now. He's creating for his first character, so he's asking, what race are you choosing? So everybody's saying down in the comments what they want, and then he's going to choose the chosen one, the more chosen one, and he'll go from there. So it's really cool because we can experience the game in a fun way through his play. So yeah, I really like that series and that idea behind it.
I thought it'd be fun for everyone.
Definitely.
I'm getting some pretty random suggestions, but that's the point. I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it as a kind of a thank you to all the folks that have subscribed and raised the profile of my channel.
Yeah.
It's my thank you to you. I will give you my time.
There you go.
There's nothing else really more valuable anyone can give to anyone else, because everyone, no matter what they've got, only has a limited amount of time.
Exactly. I agree, and and it's a great way to show a game that it's not that huge out there anymore, and it still gets updated and stuff like that. It's just a great. They should be paying you. Anarchy Online should be paying you.
They should have paid.
Yeah.
They should have give something. A free account.
There you go. Let me see. What other MMOs out there have you played or gotten seriously into like this?
Probably the only other one really was Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Okay.
Played that for about a year. Had 3 at the time end game characters, so level at the time 55 with all, I forget now whatever the top raid tier gear was. One of them was quite highly PvP ranked. I played Republic because it's the Star Wars universe, so I played Republic on my PVM characters, or PvE, some people call it, and then my PvP characters I played on the dark side. Again, it's that duality in people, I think, but it was more fun being evil in PvP than it was. It just didn't make sense as a Jedi, But I enjoyed it, but it got very kind of grindy and repeated itself a lot at the end. It's a great looking game. The sort of character storylines as you play a class, they're great. But when you get out of that, it's a lot of grinding, and it just repeats. You got to do, I want to get this next piece of armor, where you can buy it off the vendor, but you need this many tokens of this type.
Well, no, I hear you, and that's the MMO world, grinding. It just starts to feel too much like real life work in the end, and not much playing games anymore.
Yeah. I thought more so in the Star Wars game than in Anarchy, because with Anarchy there's a lot of different stuff you can do, and a lot of people will take the kind of straight ahead, most XP per minute, whatever route, and then wonder why they're bored at the end. Sure, you could do things a certain way and get the absolute fastest route to that level. Or there's this bunch of quests you could do. You could team with people a bit more your level and kind of struggle a little bit more, maybe learn a little bit more about your class. Because there's one thing that you see in a lot of games now where people pay real money to have their character leveled all the way up.
Right.
And you end up with a person with all the gear, all the stats, no clue what they're doing. And they're just kind of useless to everybody.
That's right.
I like to think my characters are sort of the opposite of that. I like to struggle with all of them. So when I get to where I am with them, it's kind of like, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the new age of MMO gaming, and that's what I noticed when I got back into gaming recently, into MMO games. I noticed that a lot, and that kind of killed the feeling for me. And there are kind of those two. There's many types of gamers, but there are those two types: those that like to just grind and get through level to level the fastest way. Or me, like when I play games, I like to experience I like to immerse myself, because there's a lot of artists that put work into it, a lot of stories. I don't get into the stories that deep, and I won't spend hours reading every book in a game or something like that. But I do appreciate what the artists put into it, and I do want to, I do want to experience it.
It's almost a game of two halves with Anarchy Online. You've got this very completely science fiction themed, almost Blade Runner meets Brazil kind of a world, which really dragged me into the game. And, it's almost bleak in its outlook. And then they brought out an expansion called Shadowlands. The guy who ran it, I think he was trying to make a fantasy game.
I see.
So the two, initially, for quite a few years, they didn't gel together so well, but they kind of do a bit more now. They've had the science fiction team are sort of more, well, if we tweak this and this, then it kind of makes it's an alien place rather than a,
I see.
So they're kind of bringing it more together. And then the last couple of expansions after that were, space aliens attacking, stuff like that. And they interlink the storylines, and it kind of makes more sense now.
Okay, right.
So
it's coming together.
Yeah. So it's predominantly, it's like 95% science fiction game. And with some fantasy kind of aspects to it, but essentially it's a sci-fi game.
Sure. All right, guys. Well, if you've been to Carl's channel yet, you better have been there or get there soon. He's also into guitars, and he's very good at it as well. So tell me, let's start. Well, just look at the background. Let's see if we can get it in there. Tell me, Carl, which one of your precious guitars there, which one's your favorite?
That would be this guy.
Classic. How old is it? I have to ask because of our little comment.
It's pretty new, this is a USA Gibson Les Paul standard.
Okay.
Just the way it plays, the way it sounds. For me, it's just awesome. I don't know if this is... Yeah, there you go.
Beautiful.
It's just the way they're made, the way they sound. They're incredible, but...
Yeah. That is a lovely guitar.
With the Gibson Les Paul, it's kind of... It's almost like you've got to wrestle with the thing to make it work right. But once you do, it's kind of worth it. You win a heart, it's worth it. There's a challenge.
Yeah, and it sounds like the way you play at the Anarchy, too.
The most precious guitar to me, though, is this old girl here. This is a 1988 Gem Floral, all original. Including
nice.
the scratches, dings, and knots.
Looks like it's from Japan or something.
Yeah, Ibanez are Japanese.
There we go, Ibanez.
All the best stuff comes from the Far East now, guys. And it is absolutely... Thankfully, that didn't break. It is absolutely just an awesome workhorse, but it's semi-retired now. It has more emotional value to me than it.
Sure. You've got stories with that. Definitely.
I could tell stories. Plus,
what a beauty.
When I really wanted a decent guitar, I was in the Musicians Institute in London in the 90s. And my grandmother, she's long since passed now, but she sold her house and she gave me not a lot of money because she still needed the money to put towards buying a guitar. And this was the guitar I bought, and I showed it to her, and it's kind of got like a kind of an Italian motif to it, and my grandmother was Italian. So on that side of the family, anyway, it's a whole thing, and she really liked it. She said, "Oh, it's beautiful," blah blah blah. And so for me, I mean, if I had to sell my guitars, that would be the one I didn't sell. It's just it's special.
Yeah. All right, awesome. Thanks for sharing that with us. Well, tell me what are your biggest musical influences out there?
Well, I'm influenced by a ridiculous amount. I'll hear something I've never heard before, and I'll think, oh, wow, and I'll just go off on a tangent on that, rather than... I'm not really genre-focused.
Good.
I do, predominantly I like the kind of the more guitar-y, edgy sort of rock stuff, but I kind of really appreciate good composition and tunes and stuff. So, my first sort of guitar hero for me was Angus Young. From AC/DC. Okay. I wanted to be Angus Young, but I'm like a foot too tall to be Angus Young now, so that's not going to work.
He's a whole different kind of creature.
Yeah, and then I kind of got into Hendrix and Led Zeppelin and stuff like that. I think after that, I really got into Frank Zappa in a big way. Once I started to learn and understand music a bit more, that type of stuff started to appeal to me a lot more because, it explores things musically that pop music can't do and still be pop music. Mm-hmm. But it was interesting for me, some people say, oh, it's music for musicians. Well, yeah, it kind of is, but it's not. It's accessible still. I mean, if you want to get into Frank Zappa and you've never really listened to him, get an album called Shake Your Booty. It's kind of a small collaboration. Compilation, thank you.
Yeah.
You listen to that, it's very much 18 rated. Let's be 100%. If you're under 18, do not listen to this record. It has explicit lyrics, and it has explicit political ideas and ideologies. But if you like George Carlin as a comedian and people like that, then you probably really like Zappa quite a bit.
Awesome.
And the composition's brilliant. And from him, I picked up on a guy he had in the band at the time called Steve Vai, who was kind of no one at the time. And now he's like a guitar god, which is how come I've got the Ibanez Gem. It's a guitar designed and made for him by Ibanez, and they still make it now 25 years later. It's been a successful guitar run. I think it's the longest running signature guitar.
Wow,
we got into him in a massive way, then Joe Satriani and people like that. But, then lately there's still good stuff out there. People say, oh, today's music, it's rubbish. Well, the radio play is diabolical. Mainstream media's music stuff is just pap. It's recycled garbage to my ears. It's kind of like, well, I've heard this a million times. It's just, I can't tell this band from this band. It's the same everything. And then suddenly you get Queens of the Stone Age come out. Nobody knows, and you're like, wow, this is this is great, and great stuff. Odd time signatures, different key registers, strange abstract. Suddenly it's real music again. It challenges you a little.
I agree.
So there's good stuff out there.
I agree that mainstream music, it's not good. It's not great, and it's shallow. Don't lose hope. It's just where you find your music. There is good music out there, and I'm big for in the underground scene of music myself. So I'm quite aware of that. And the art is still out there. It's all about what the artist really wants. Is it art, or is it the cheap cash? Cheap cash. Does that make sense?
I think someone, I can't remember, I am quoting someone when I say this, but I can't think who now, who said, if the people you see on your X Factors and Pop Idol, for the most part, they just want to be famous.
Exactly.
The people that have to produce the music they have to produce, and they have to record what they record, and enjoy no massive success, are artists, because they are compelled to do what they are doing.
Yes.
Their compulsion isn't greed.
Passion.
That's the difference.
That's right. If you had to name, I know this is tough, but if you had to name, nobody's going to judge you here if you forget something. Okay, you can always come back in the comments and say, "Whoa, I want to replace this one." But your top 3 bands, if you had to think of your top 3 bands out there.
That is 3 is too small a number for me. AC/DC has to be the perfect rock band. They're just straight ahead rock and roll band.
Yeah.
They just are.
They are.
End of. Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention has to be.
Okay.
Just for sheer brilliance.
You're doing good.
And then I've also got a soulful side. So I'm going to say, and it more how he was then, not how he is now, is Stevie Wonder. Songs in the Key of Life. There is not one bad track. There is not one bad track on that album. You put that album on at a party, everybody's up.
Hey,
fantastic.
Yeah, if you want to go to that end of the musical spectrum, I'd even give Hot Chocolate a shout out. And that's what I like about you, is you're not into one genre. There is a certain genre I do like to listen and go back to a lot, but as far as music and just the pleasure of art and its effect, you have to be open, and there's a lot of great stuff everywhere out there. So Stevie Wonder, the man.
Yeah, that particular album is just, it's killer. It'll lift you up. It's got like Superstition, Sneaking Out, I can't remember, I Wish, Sneaking out the back door. Da, 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 da. It's just mind-blowingly good, that album. There's people go, oh, soul singer, blah blah blah, and I'm in my sort of back catalogue of my memory, I'm listening to what's a soul singer or what's called soul now, and I'm kind of stacking it up against Stevie in his prime, and I'm like, no, it's just not there, guys. That's just dead. That's auto-tune, and
that was soul.
It's awful.
All right, well, your most viewed video on your channel is Mesa Boogie Mark II, the B demo. Yes, B demo. And that is basically a review of a amplifier. And you have over 34, almost coming on to 35,000 views on it. So big congratulations there.
Thank you.
I'd say probably what? It's a review video, right? Review videos do well out there.
I mean, I do. I think at the beginning, and I'm actually quite ill when I filmed it, by the way, which is why I look a little different now. But it's me. I think I lost quite a bit of weight there, but
you had the short hair there.
Really short, and I think probably that year was the last time I've cut it since then, and it's sort of kind of here now. So,
beautiful. Hair has wisdom, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I've still got that amp. It's out of shot, but it's right there. And that was... I was trying to learn about the amp. It's from 1982. It's a little bit odd in the way it's set up, and it works. It's not what you might expect from a conventional amplifier. Like the signal goes in, goes through the tone circuit, then into a gain stage, and everyone else does it backwards, and it's kind of strange, but it can make an amazing sound. Carlos Santana, a fantastic player and musician and writer, was using these amps, and it was he helped get that company going. In America, I'm pretty sure it's Mesa. I get criticised for calling it Mesa because I'm British, so we say it wrong apparently. But apparently. Mesa Boogie apparently. Mesa call it Mesa, so it's Mesa. And I just couldn't find any videos on YouTube that explained what on earth was going on with the amp, and they were all like sound demo, and they sounded terrible. They just had like a phone, and I mean like an old phone in front of it recording, and it just had this horrible, because when you try and record guitar, you can't do it with a phone. I mean, not then. I mean, maybe now, the iPhone 6, what have you.
Right.
But it just never worked that well. So I went, I've had enough. I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna read, and I managed to get in contact with Mesa Boogie and got the original scan PDF of the hand typed, like on an old clank typewriter, manual for it, and it's written in conversational way. There's it hasn't gone through a team. It's just one guy going, "You're gonna love this super tone, blah blah blah. Dial this up to here and crank this, and she's sweet." And it was just so charming to read. So I kind of read all that. I was like, "Okay, this is cool." And I kind of got my head around it because I was using it in a band, so I really had to make sure this amp was delivering the goods,
Right, definitely.
And it was producing fantastic sounds. And I thought, right, that's it. I'm just going to make a video of it. I'm going to put it on the Mesa Boogie sort of fan website. It's kind of a forum more than anything else. And I put it on there because there was all this arguing about how it worked. And I was like, no, look, I am not going to type 6 million, words to explain this to you. Bang, there you go. And I threw it up.
On a
whim. On a whim. And
great.
A lot of people on that site were like, yeah, this is working for me now, and I don't know, it just kind of took off from there, but it's been there a while. But yeah, it's still gets viewed a lot. I wish I looked healthier in it. Apologies for that, but yeah, I wasn't ill. I was just not in a good place.
Well, still, you put out great content out there, and you got rewarded for that, and you did your research on that. You actually went to another level to release something that was actually useful and and help some people out with that. So, and the company. So, yeah, right on.
I don't know if Mesa Boogie need my help. They.
Yeah.
I don't think they do. I mean, back when they were making that amp, maybe, but there was no internet when they were making that amp.
Now, where did you grow up? Did you grow up in Wales?
Yeah. It's just one of the more beautiful places in the world. Really, it's largely unspoiled.
It's quite lovely.
So,
Well, you live in a town over there called, I would say town, not city, probably.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's not
more of a town.
There's like 2 cities in all of Wales,
and it's it's called Landudno. Did I say that right? Landudno.
It's Welsh. It's Welsh. So the double L is a different sound than you would normally make. It's cl, which is kind of like saying it's its own sound. You know, like when you hear someone Swedish or Norwegian or Icelandic, you're like, what constant? And it's their own thing. It's the double L is clan.
Yeah.
The D and then the U and the D is did. So it's Llandudno.
Llandudno.
Yeah, Tony could never get it because one of my characters in game is called Llywelyn, who was the last true Prince of Wales, was Llywelyn, and I named a character after him in game, and he did like a quiz thing, and we were all on TeamSpeak or something, and he goes, and I've got clue, and we went through that. I just went Llewellyn, just Llewellyn. That'll do. It's close enough.
Sure.
So yeah.
Well, hey, that's by the way, if you don't know who he's referring to by Tony, that's Sharp Tony. So that's a nice shout out there. Make sure Tony catches that. Actually, I had a review of Tony. No, an interview with Sharp Tony here recently, a few episodes ago. So you can check that out, by the way. So nice shout out there. So I gotta say, you know, Cladidno sounds, and it looks beautiful there. Plus, they have a frickin' dragon on their flag. I mean, that says a lot. It says a lot for me. So I might have to end up there as well. How was your childhood growing up there?
Well, it was quite a while ago. So the 70s, and Wales was largely underdeveloped. So I was the kid that was, you know, you probably see these posts on social media. You know, when the streetlights came on, it was time to come home. It was a lot like that, except it wasn't streetlights. Right. We were out playing in woods and trees and valleys and rivers, and you know, miraculously, most of us are still alive. You know, somehow we survived our childhood. But yeah, it was that kind of childhood. But it was kind of mixed because it's a tourist destination. So you had to learn very quickly. Okay, you could be this kind of rustic kind of a thing, not hillbilly. That's the wrong word, but you know, kind of sheltered from cities and stuff. But because of the tourist industry exists here, you had to be savvy to survive as well. If you went into town and you weren't savvy, you're just going to wind up in trouble so fast, you know. It's kind of it's both. I think people expect when they arrive here that we're all kind of hokey and you know yokels, and we do live to a larger extent. A lot of us live our lives that way here because you can know 7 or 8 of your neighbours and be friendly, and you know you can do that here. But we do have the internet and libraries and books and schools and things like that.
There you go.
You know, so
they're civilized.
Yeah, we're not unsophisticated. I mean, our native tongue is the oldest spoken language in Europe, America, and I think there's only Chinese that's older. It's actually older than Latin.
Wow.
People spoke Welsh. Latin only came to most of Europe and the UK with the Romans. Obviously, that was their mother tongue, but Welsh goes back. It's ancient. No one really knows how old it is, but they know it's literally, as a written language, is older than Latin. Unless someone has discovered something since, that's still correct.
There you go. That should have sold it for you, and if it didn't, I don't know if I said this yet, but it's got a frickin' dragon on the flag. They have a dragon. That's it. Welsh, dragon, small town, lovely landscape. Yeah, I'd love to check it out. Well, outside of Wales, have you done much traveling?
A little.
Exploring?
I've been here and there. Germany. Lived in London for a number of years while I was studying. Manchester, places around the UK mostly. Always did want to go to the States, never really did it. I almost went to Australia and Canada.
Okay.
We do have kind of relatives out there in Canada or Ontario I haven't been in touch with for probably too long to suddenly make contact again now. But if you see this, hi, we're still here. Hit us up on Facebook or something.
There you go.
And I almost became Australian, apparently. When I was about 2 years old. My family was seriously considering going, because you could just emigrate to Australia if you had like £10 in your bank account. That was it. You could just get on the boat and start a new life in Australia. They needed people. Mm-hmm. They needed to, water out the gene pool of that population. So they made this, get on the boat in 6 months you're there. And they almost went. So it could have been a vastly different life. I'd no doubt have been bitten or killed by one of the millions of animals in Australia that will kill you.
That's fascinating, actually. When my parents left Poland, a little bit of my background, if you guys don't know, we had a choice. I could have actually grown up in Australia or South Africa, and they chose South Africa, so that was my route. So I almost got there, too. I almost became Australian like you. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah.
Well, finally, we chatted a little bit before the show, and Carl's got some great photography equipment. He's got a nice camera, some lenses. Tell me, is there a place online where we can see any of your photography? Maybe some of that hobby?
Yeah, if you go to Flickr.
Excellent.
Yeah, look at my photos on Flickr.
Okay.
I'll give you the link after this.
Definitely.
And maybe throw it in the description or something.
That's right.
I think it's just Flickr and my name. I forget now. But like when you upload photos to Facebook, they get massively compressed. Mm-hmm. And most social media images, they compress the color depth, so you don't get the full effect of that. Flickr does compress them, but not nearly as much. So you actually wind up with far better looking, representation of what you had on your screen when you were editing it or when you took it.
Right.
I don't know. I've got a couple of hundred up there. Landscapes,
Great.
Black and whites,
Checking
days out, just family stuff, but
yeah,
nothing I'm uncomfortable with. So.
All right, great. Well, tell me, Carl, what's next for you and your channel?
Well, this is it. I've thrown it out to people and to try and say thank you to the 500 plus of you now who've subscribed and watched my videos. We're going to build a character and have fun with that. And
yes.
I've got a couple of other ideas.
Great.
And I don't want to sound boastful, but if we hit 1,000, I've got another kind of a special, which I don't want to talk about now because it won't be special if we do it. I mean, it might not happen. Like I say in my 500 celebration video, guys, it might never get any bigger. This is Anarchy Online. It's a small game. It should be a bigger game. It's probably the best MMO on the planet, but nobody plays it. Just one of those things.
Yeah.
So, when we go from there, yeah, I'm sure I'd love that it hits Steam, a million people subscribe to the game and start playing it, and then I've suddenly got a much, much larger audience that, I could, make some sort of income for my family for, or to buy equipment to make even better videos.
Yeah,
I don't
there
know.
You go.
But I don't have like an A to B plan.
Okay.
I just have an idea of if I think I see like any potential in the channel or a development in the channel that could be an open door to something, I'm going to take it. So I have that mentality that I want it to succeed.
Sure.
But not a massively structured plan. I've got ideas for what I'll do if, that kind of a thing.
Exactly.
So if it happens, great, and we can do this with it, and I think that'll work.
That's very positive mentality.
It's organic,
actually.
It's kind of organic approach.
Yeah. Tell me, what would excite you more at this point? If more let's say another 1 million, 2 million new people joined Anarchy as it is right now, or if they actually got their game together and made a totally new Anarchy Online Part 2 game, what would excite you more at this point?
That's tricky. I think I would be excited about a new Anarchy Online game. But suddenly having that many people play Anarchy Online, to see it that alive as it was when I first started playing it. I mean, when you went to a place there called Tier, which is like a capital city kind of area where all the shops are. People would be there. So when you wanted this buff and that buff that you needed to equip this weapon, or you needed to sell stuff to other players, there was no in-game market. You went there and you felt like, the country bumpkin arriving in a city, and there was just tells and shouts and people, spamming adverts. And you felt like you got off the train in New York having lived your whole life in Kansas or something, to give you an analogy, and a lot of the Americans an analogy there. And you were just like, whoa. It felt like that. You got there and you were like, wow, what's going on? It would be wonderful to see the game that alive, that vibrant again, because what's in the game is good enough that it deserves that. I really do.
Well, that's good. Yeah, like I said, you should be part of the team. Get this game moving. Get some advertising.
I mean, the thing with new games is Funcom are notoriously bad at launching new games, which is, it's just they're just this really idiosyncratic kind of a company. They just do things in the most bizarre way, but they created Anarchy Online, so I have to love them.
Sure. Well, and in this day and age, there's that big issue of people's attention span when I wouldn't call it an attention span, but the request for perfection. Like when a game comes out, it has to be perfect, or suddenly everybody drops out within a week or two. And I've mentioned it before on the show. I will mention it again probably sometime. It's happened to one of my favorite MMOs. It came out, it had some bugs, and people left. And because of that, eventually it just didn't have enough support and funding. I didn't experience those bugs, but a lot of those babies out there did. And
yeah, I mean, Anarchy Online's launch was so bad. The I think it's Something Awful website that's been around since then still has a write-up on the launch and just how chronically bad that launch was. It's still there, and it still gets views. This is 14 years on, guys. Let it go.
Just haters hating or enjoying. It's history. All right, my man. Well, I'm going to give you the 10 lightning questions here. Are you ready? These are kind of intuitive questions. Just answer what hits you.
Okay.
In all honesty.
Sure.
Here we go.
Okay.
Tell me what inspires you.
Life does.
Life does. All right, life. Excellent. What is your favorite word?
Love.
Okay, I was going to say we bleep words here, so you can say whatever you want, but love. Actually, that's beautiful. Life, love. Great answer so far. Let's go to the next one. What grosses you out? What disgusts you?
Dishonesty.
Loving these. What do you love to hear in the morning after you wake up, and at night before you go to sleep?
In the morning, I like to hear my children.
Great. Yes.
I don't want to know what they're actually saying, but just that background noise of fun and giggling.
Sure.
That's beautiful. And at night, just the sound of my wife breathing.
There you go.
I'm going. I know she's there. She's healthy. She's good.
That's right. Yes. Let's see. What scares you?
Oh, fear itself, actually.
Fear itself, right.
Because you can actually be fearful of being scared of something. I've heard that said before, and I know these meant to be quick answers, but it maybe I need to explain this one a bit. Is the fear of something is usually not nearly as bad as the fear of fearing it.
That's right.
So it's fear itself that I'm sort of scared of, and I try and avoid. If I'm making sense there. So I know, I need to do something, and I'm not looking forward to this. And that kind of, the way you let that kind of, it nests in your mind, and it gets worse and worse, and you make it worse than it is. I'm fearful of doing that to myself and other people. And we do subconsciously do it to other people.
Absolutely.
Without meaning to even. So, yeah, fear itself.
Well, there's
fear causes massive amounts of problems in the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. That whole negative area of thought and mentality creates a lot of problems that we have to this day and in history. There's that famous saying, there's nothing to fear but fear itself, and I'm not sure who that was, if it's Roosevelt or someone. Don't quote me here.
I don't know, it could have been anyone. But I mean, I don't want to sound like the Yoda quote, but if you follow the path, fear leads to hate.
Yep.
Leads to anger.
That's
And
right.
okay, Yoda said that, but I'm sure they were quoting something before Yoda, before the Star Wars universe, because it's an inherent truth. Wars start because them and us, and that's a fear, and then the fear becomes a hate, and the hate becomes an anger, and you've got the worst thing we can do as human beings to each other, which is have a war. It's terrible.
It's along the lines of you fear what it is unknown. So finally, when you educate yourself, when you experience life, and even you analyze your own mentality, and you tackle that fear that you fear, actually that's the unknown. So once you open your horizons more toward the world, your fear should decrease. So
yeah, totally.
All right. If you had to choose to be an animal out there, what would you choose to be?
Dolphin.
Dolphin. All right. I think we had that answer one time previously. It's a very, very fascinating animal. It's a very positive animal. It's got very positive light out there. You don't see dolphins in a very dark light in the media or anywhere out there.
No. I mean, they're a beautiful, intelligent animal that's perfectly adapted to its environment.
Yeah.
It doesn't need anything.
Sure.
It's perfectly happy as it is, doing what it does. It doesn't need anything else. It doesn't need clothes, a house, money, a mortgage. No, it doesn't need any of that. It doesn't need to pay to live in the world. It just exists, and it's intelligent enough to know it exists.
Top of the food chain for the most part.
Brains the size of ours.
Yeah.
Imagine being that free.
Exactly, and far from those aggressive humans out there. Yeah, there we go. Great.
Wouldn't it be great to be that free?
Absolutely. Flying under the water. What animal... Oh, I just asked that. Let's ask it again. No. Where would you love to live?
I'll pick a different animal. Yeah.
It'd be funny if I did actually ask that and that there was no actually any response or anything odd in my emotions. I was just completely expecting.
Yeah, that would be pretty funny. I'd be like...
Yeah, you're like waiting for me to catch up
Neo.
with that, but I never do. So you just have to repeat it. You don't have a choice. Where would you love to live if you could live anywhere in the world?
Other than Wales, New Zealand.
New Zealand, all right. So your top place, you would say you're happy in Wales.
Yeah,
that's right. Okay.
Yeah, I think it suits me. I've been other places. I'm not naive to cities and city life. And once children come along, it's amazing how your priorities shift. And if they don't, then there's something wrong there with you.
Sure.
Some instinct not kicking in. But okay, maybe the world is a dangerous place, and you do need to be insightful and decisive about certain aspects of it.
Sure.
But you also want it to be a bit of a softer place.
Yeah.
So a child's spirit can kind of grow. I don't mean in like a religious way. I'm kind of agnostic anyway, but I think spirituality is real. Someone's emotional well-being and connection with the world is really quite visceral and real. And that's what I refer to when I mention spirituality. I don't kind of subscribe to any specific religion. But yeah, I mean, somewhere like here is everything you see is virtually inspiring. So,
nice.
If you look at a lot of the great sort of people in the world, a lot of where they come from inspired the inner person, the deeper inner core of themselves. It's kind of...
That's true.
It kind of blends with that part of a person.
That's true. A very good point, yep.
Little deep there, sorry.
It's
supposed to be quick fire.
Yeah, well, you're selling it for me. I want to check it out. I want to check it out right now. All right.
Sells itself.
Okay, here we go. What excites you the most?
Oh, Christmas.
Wow. That was not expected.
It's more fun as a parent. It's way more fun as a parent than it ever was as a kid, believe me.
Great answer. And okay, finally, the last one. What superhuman ability would you choose if you could choose one?
Invulnerability.
All right. All right, so are we talking about immortality here?
No, I don't want to live forever, but invulnerability. Yeah, because let's say you're invulnerable, so there's a mugging. You and me, we just go, oh my God, he's got a weapon, and shout for help. But we wouldn't risk our own selves. If you knew you were invulnerable, you could do whatever you wanted. You could just stop them. You could take the knife and stick it in you or snap it against you or however it worked, You can't be hurt. So you could I want to talk to, president of this place. You could just walk along the ocean floor. You'd get there eventually. You wouldn't drown. You could get shot at, everything else. Straight up to them, say, listen, you really need to think about this.
I like that.
You're invulnerable. You can't be damaged. They lock you up. You keep punching the wall, and eventually you get through it. You'll never break.
Definitely. Would you include emotional invulnerability here as well?
No.
Okay. So.
No, I think you need that to be human.
Right.
No, if you switch off your emotion, then you've got to question why you would want that, I think.
Yeah, why would you even be alive at this point?
There must be something negative in those emotions, because positive emotion we want. It's negative emotions we want to hide from and get away from. So wanting emotional invulnerability is closing yourself off, not just from the world, but from everyone else. And yourself.
Yeah.
So you kind of you're creating your own little universe, and at the edge of that universe is all this negative kind of hate or whatever, and fear or whatever, resentment or what, any of them, and that can kind of compact down, and you end up with your serial killers and people with some terrible problems that cause them to do even worse things.
Well, I brought up emotion because when you said invulnerability, that's on a physical level, but then, hey, when you're standing in front of 2,000 people, you might not feel that invulnerable, even though, physically you are, but still inside, that might still, have its effect on you. But of course, at this point, I think such things and confidence would be easier to develop. So these are always interesting questions. Could go deeper.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I like the old Twilight Zone, where they would explore that.
Sure.
Or the writers would explore that concept. Guy wakes up and he's invulnerable.
Right.
Or has these powers.
Yeah,
and then, there's a twist at the end because, but did you think about this bit? It always made you think that, well, what you watch that junk for? Well, no, this is not junk. This is making you think.
Yeah. All right, Carl, tell me, what is the most common question you get on your channel?
Can I be in your videos?
Well, that's a nice request.
Yeah, for real.
That's great.
Can I be in your video?
You are the man.
I'm like, I'm flattered, but I think I said this on the last sort of subscriber address. So I speak directly to the subscribers video where I said, well, yes, you could send me all this content. Well, let's say miraculously that video goes viral. Who owns the money from that video going viral and Google making a stack of money out of it and then paying you some of it, but still making you rich? Well, there's no contract previous, so I kind of want to, but I don't,
Sure.
Yeah. And I say to them, I say, hey, make your own, start your own channel, do it your way, do your thing. Because if people like it, you will get a buzz out of it because they're liking you.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't be in my shadow.
Some advice.
Be your own thing.
There you go. Good answer to that question.
I mean, it's a tiny, tiny shadow. Let's be straight about this, but,
Well, over here on the show, it's a huge shadow, and I'll make sure of it. Do you have any other channels out there?
Not as such. I've started one because I'm kind of toying with the idea of Twitch. But that's kind of I'm thinking ahead. If such and such a thing happens, then I'm going to use Twitch to do this with it. And I've got a separate channel just called Callous2 Live. And all I'm going to do is take whatever I'm broadcasting to Twitch and upload it to YouTube on just that channel. So the main reason for it is if you've ever tried to watch a past broadcast on Twitch, It's painful.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way they run those servers that do it. Their broadcast servers are fine, but their video on demand servers are just appalling. With any kind of a connection you've got, you ask anyone that tries, it's if it's longer than 10 minutes, it just does this in the middle for hours. So what a lot of guys that are big on Twitch do is they have a YouTube channel where they upload their previous broadcasts to, and that channel in its own right becomes quite a powerful channel for them. But they're already pretty big on that scene anyway. But I'm not predicting that. I'm just thinking it's something nice to have. So if I do Twitch and I get a lot of people, I don't play in your time zone, or you're UK, we're all in East Coast America, we totally miss your show. They can catch up and watch me on YouTube, and they don't lose out, I don't lose out. So but that's the only other one I run. That's the only other channel that I'm experimenting with. I only have a couple of private videos up there just to see experimentally.
All right, my man. So tell me, finally, what message would you love to leave your followers, fans, and friends out there with?
To my followers on YouTube, thank you. Thank you 500 times, 530 times, whatever it is now. All you do when you subscribe and watch is make me want to carry on, putting in the effort to make the videos. Please keep it up. Tell your friends, have them watch too. It's a lot of fun for me, and don't stop with suggestions because they really help. And I will create the content you ask for, as long as it's not ridiculous. My family and friends, thank you for being so.
Beautiful. Excellent. I like that. Powerful. Well, guys, you see, this is a very great gentleman. He's very noble. He's a good guy. He's a great friend to have. He's just a great supporter. I know you've been...
He's really embarrassed is what he is.
He's been, I know Carl for a while now over YouTube, and he's just being one of the best supporters. I know he's always out there. He's a great guy. Always is willing to give you his time, his moment, and that's, as he said before, very precious in this life. So do check out his channel. It will be definitely, as always, linked down below. Let us know if you enjoyed the episode. Give us a like here. And then, of course, if you haven't yet, go drop by his channel. Give him a like. Give him some comments. We all like those questions and comments out there. And, of course, I guess I'd say get started by watching his 500 subscriber special and go from there. He's got a nice variety of videos. So, please enjoy him. I'll stay subscribed. We'll also mention his Flickr link down below. Check him out on Facebook. He's a great friend to have, and whatever other links you'll provide me with. So here's my digital handshake, Sir Sire. Sire is more noble. I'm adding that E now lately. There you go. He's got it. Beautiful. All right. Have a great day or night wherever you are.
Subscribe and comment down below, and maybe you can be on our next show.
Oh, hey there. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Facebook. That's right. Oh, and watch our last interview. Yeah, the previous interview here. Oh, funniest moments. Well, both awesome. That was a good one, too. And funniest moments, you can't miss those. Oh, if you want to be on the show, or if there's a YouTuber, a favorite YouTuber you want to see on the show, let us know down below. Yeah. Oh, I gotta go, guys. So, see you on the next show.
Be sure to check out Arthur Kidawa's gameplays, monsters, and other work.
Oh, and we're back online.
All right. Hey,
hello.
I'm getting you here on my phone, but I'm not.
Got you back.
I'm not getting you on my. Are we back? Okay.
We're back. We made it.
Whew. All right. If you remember what you were talking about.
Nope. Sorry.
I'll try to find a good spot somewhere not to...
What were we talking about?
Other channel.
What was your last
That
question?
was the last... Okay, hold on.
It just doesn't want us to finish this, does it?